Graham, how much of the next couple of days is about focusing on the positives and keeping the players nice and upbeat ahead of the weekend?
I don't think it's difficult really. They got themselves together this morning. The boys came in early and had a get together talking about where we're at and what needs to change, what they feel they can do better between themselves to kick us on. But I think they're being hard on themselves if I'm frank, because it's been a ludicrously difficult period to lose so many players and to have so much disruption. We've been bedding in new lads because we knew we'd lost some of those big players. We've had to bed in new lads, but we wanted to sign lads who were younger rather than more experienced, lads who had the potential for the future as well as potentially playing a part in the short term. So they've had a lot to contend with, and I think when you're young and you're trying to pull all of that together, it can be tough. It's been tough, but these times I think are the makings of young players. It's not the slip that counts, it's your reaction to the slip, and the reaction is strong. It is positive on a day-to-day basis. Spirits are high. The fight on the training ground is good, and we'll only get better.
Is that good for you as a manager, though, seeing the players take the initiative and want to have a discussion, want to have a sit-down, want to put their heads together and work out what they can improve on?
It's what you encourage them to be as professionals and as people. Constructive, positive, taking a sense of responsibility for their situation. And I spoke to one or two afterwards and said, what did you come up with? Was there anything that I need to know about? And they said, no, not really. We can see a lot of little things that we can do for ourselves, but we've got no complaints about the way things are. Everything's done right for us. And we know that we can be better. We know that we need to be better. We know we've got learning that we need to bed in. And we're all getting ready to do that. So it's terrific, of course it is, to know that you've got young men who've got that sense of responsibility.
We talked about the lapses in concentration on Tuesday night. Can you legislate for that as a manager? Can you do anything yourself to try and eradicate that? Or is that something, as we discussed, that the players have to look from within to try and address?
We did a lot of work when I first came in on the defensive side of our game. We've got so many flair players, so many ball players, that the defensive side of our game wasn't something that was necessarily embraced. And we worked really hard to drill into players the need to follow their defensive jobs through, good technical defensive habits. And of course what's happened is all of that work to some degree has gone to waste, because the lads like the Callums and the Jermaines and the Forresters and so on who were having that work put into them have all dropped to one side. So it's almost start again in that regard. And our defending hasn't been as good as it needs to be and ought to be. So we've got to start that work again, but of course with the games schedule that we've had, we haven't been able to get out there and do the work that we need to do. So it's tough. But one of the things I would say is when you've got the likes of Jack Baldwin, the likes of Cozzy, the likes of Gabby, who are coming back from long-term injuries, without making excuses for them, and they don't need me to make excuses, they're all good pros with lots of games under their belt, they're going to have lapses in concentration. It's going to happen. And there's no point, coming down on them. They don't do it on purpose. It's not what they are as players. But when you come back, any player who's been out, just for a closed season, a summer, and comes back to pre-season, makes mistakes in pre-season. This is their pre-season. They're playing their pre-season games. And you have to give them understanding and make sure that their confidence stays high despite those little errors, because they are only temporary errors, and they will soon be behind all those players.
How do you go about beating Wigan then, Graham? Tough question, I guess, because they're the form team in the division at the moment, 13 unbeaten now. So how do you start to prepare for that sort of task?
Well, preparing for a task of size is something that we've got recent experience of. We pulled a Premier League club away from home in the FA Cup, and we know the script. You can't underestimate what they are, and you can't overestimate what they are. You don't beat sides if you give them the game mentally before you go into the game, and you've got to make sure that you take your A game to the party. We've been to some big away grounds and shown what our young team is capable of. Sheffield United being really notable for me because they came under a lot of pressure that day, but they passed the ball really well. We played to our strengths, we scored good goals, and we defended with real resilience as well. So we've got recent experience in the Sheffield game and in the West Brom game of going to this type of arena against a side that's got good quality in it, and coming away with a positive result. So we know what it takes. We know what great form they're in. We know what good players they've got. But let's put it into perspective. They are a League One football club right now. They may well be on the way to the Championship, but they're a League One football club right now. And like Preston were last year before they won their promotion, and we beat them in the FA Cup. So we know we've got what it takes. We need to get a lot right, but we're preparing to do so.
Yeah. Do you remind your players of the Sheffield United win that you mentioned in the performance at West Brom? Do you show them footage even to say, look, this is where you were, this is what you can do, this is what you're capable of?
Well, I think that building the mentality of belief in their capabilities is multifaceted. There's a variety of things that we'll do to get them up to speed mentally. When you've been on a difficult run like the one that we've been on, it's easy to remember all your shortfalls. But even in those games, there's been a lot of good stuff that we've been doing, and I think the good thing is the corrections we need to make to our game. Yes, we've brought a lot of players in. Yes, there's some misunderstandings. The classic for me was the other night. I think I spoke to you about it after the game when Shaq passed the ball out to Marcus twice and expected him to run onto the ball, and Marcus expected him to realise that Marcus stands still in those situations. And it's those little moments where understandings aren't quite right that say to you, look, that's the difference between winning and losing. We always talk about fine margins in football. And there are plenty of fine margins that add up to winning, and it's only a few small margins that need to be wrong for you to get defeat. So we're working on all of the little details that it takes to create victory. We know we've not been good enough in terms of the performances we've put in, but I think everybody at the football club, from top right the way through, understands. Nobody enjoys getting beaten. Nobody enjoys a run of results like we've had. But I think we do all understand. We're very much together, and we do understand.
Do you think Wigan have the strongest squad in the division? Just having a look down the squad, it seems like they've got real quality in every single position, and probably some surplus added to that if they got 3 or 4, 5 or 6 injuries.
I'll be honest, I think we've got a fantastic squad. I think we're in a horrible moment, but I do think we've got a fantastic squad. There's some players in our camp that you've only seen glimpses of, and when their potential starts to realise itself, there is some very serious talent in this club. I don't think there's a better League One player than Chris Forrester. I think there's going to be a massive queue at our door for that player's talents. You look at 17-year-old Leo the other night. I mean, okay, he's 17, and there were a couple of moments where he looked 17, but there were moments where he looked 25, and some of his football was just sensational. So I look at us and I just see an array of riches in our squad. And honestly, there's not many squads that have got players in them that I look at enviously. I look at our squad and I think there's so much talent. I can't wait for it to fulfil its potential.
Marcus Maddison must be a big positive for you at the moment as well. He's got 2 in his last 2, and he's looking like the old Marcus Maddison again, taking people on, whipping dangerous balls into the box. That must be a real boost for you. I
think Marcus is playing with a team smile as well. There's I just came out of the dressing room and there's a buoyancy about Marcus. I think he's embracing the team to a greater degree, and I think the team's embracing him. He's trying to give the team what the team wants. His running distances have gone up. He's not playing just in possession. He's giving the team a little bit more out of possession, and he's a fantastic talent. He does incredible things on a football pitch. If he embraces the team culture and continues to push forward in all directions as he's going, he's going to have a very big future.
I mentioned Chris Forrester there. Is he any closer to making a reappearance?
I'd love to say yes, and I'm open-minded every day. He gets bits of improvement and bits of setback. It was a nasty challenge that he felt the weight of, and it's rocked his knee a little bit, and it just won't settle down to the point where he can say, yeah, I'm fully fit. So he is progressing. You never know with these things when he's going to walk in and go, no, it feels great today. We're hoping it'll be any minute.
Yeah, and how about Anik? Obviously, young lad Moore's come in and done pretty well, hasn't he, for 2 matches? But your senior goalkeeper's sidelined. Any idea how long?
We're hoping again with Ben that it won't be more than another week or 10 days. He's rocked an ankle, and they take probably 2 to 3 weeks to settle down. He's had a couple of weeks now, so we're hoping that this time next week we'll be talking about Ben having trained for the first time. Yeah,
and Angle's the other one, of course. That strapping on his thigh. Is he back in training, or a late decision on him?
No, we found a little calcification in that thigh. He's had that problem. He's carried it now for a few games. Everyone's been looking at him and thinking he's playing a bit within himself. He did ever so well at West Brom, but hasn't really cut the mustard since then. And he's had a bit of bleeding in the thigh that's calcified, and we're trying to break that down at the moment. So he's feeling a lot better today. I don't think he'll make the weekend, But certainly looking towards next weekend, we're optimistic he'll be fit.
Yeah, and how are you feeling about the captaincy at the moment? It was Bostwick's turn, wasn't it, on Tuesday, and Smith's had a go, and Zakwani as well. Are you any closer to making a decision longer term, or were you, as you put it, I think, throw it about a bit more before then?
Well, I think between now and the end of the season, my intention was just to share the armband between senior players who wanted to have a feel of the armband on their arm. And see whether it was right for them. As much as me thinking, well, he should be the captain. Your captain's got to want to wear the armband, got to feel that he can carry it and it's going to enhance his performance, not reduce it. So lads who've not been regular captains who thought, well, I think that's a job I want to do. I'm happy for them to have a go, and I don't mean that disrespectfully to the captain's armband. You must understand that. I think your captain is a big decision. It has to be the right decision. And I think the time to make that right decision is at the end of the season when we've got our new squad together. Maybe there'll be some comings and goings at the end of the year. We spent a long time on Monday, the chairman and Barry and myself, sitting down 7 hours worth, looking at the forward plan, looking at the squad, looking at what we want to do with it to really get it into the shape that it needs to be in. Very, very constructive meeting, and we talked about the captaincy and the need to get that right, to have the right man at the helm. So we're very determined to do that.
Good luck Saturday. Thank you.
Cheers.